his desire to want to show her these things. He sees in her a chance to recreate himself, and the sex is not so interesting to him.
Interesting. Now, you obviously have some sympathy for his character, as Peter Sarsgaard obviously does. I find him fascinating because he's really probably nuts in the end. Now, how was the psychology of his character defined by Barber as opposed to the way you defined it? Or did it evolve with the director and the actor a little as well?
No, I think we all worked on that. I mean, I didn't. It was kind of a bit incomprehensible and a little bit grubbier, I think, in the original piece.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And I didn't really want to write that. I wanted to find what made him human and the points of sympathy in him. It was the first thing I remember Lone saying, I love him, I love this character. And I was quite surprised because obviously all my work had gone into Jenny really. And that was what hooked Lynn in, and then Peter was really hooked by him as well.
Now, did you have debates about whether to go for the fact that he was Jewish, which has in fact, it hasn't turned into an enormous scandal here, but a bit of a debate here over that?
Yes,
America.
I mean, we were conscious of it at every step of the way. It was in the original piece, obviously, and so my first decision was, do I keep it or do I lose it? And first of all, there seemed something wrong to me about losing it and sort of pretending it hadn't happened. It seemed, I felt more offensive actually to do it that way. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought it was important. For several reasons. One is I can remember the anti-Semitism in England from my own school days at the end of the 60s, when I was a kid, and that seemed something peculiarly English about the time, the intolerance for any kind of otherness. Secondly, there was this Jewish gangster thing going on in England at the time. The big slum landlord that they talk about, Rachman, was Jewish, and I think the Cray twins, the notorious gangsters, were Jewish. And it seemed very socially accurate to keep him Jewish and in this sort of demi-monde. And I felt that the reason that there were Jews involved in that side of life were for anti-Semitic reasons, that they prevented from taking regular routes in to become successful. So
was there a reaction along similar lines in England?
No.
It was strictly American.
Yeah. And, we were taken aback, I have to say, because I developed it with a Jewish director originally, the movie, and for a Jewish executive at the BBC.
Kidron?
Yeah. And then a couple of Jewish executives when Endgame, the financiers, came on board, and this had never come up at any stage with any of them. And I think people in England recognised that the anti-Semitic attitudes in the
they recognised
piece,
the period. They knew the cultural references. They recognised that it was authentic.
Yeah, and the only thing that sort of troubled me about it is when people say, Emma Thompson's anti-Semitic. I say, well, yes, and the film doesn't endorse her anti-Semitism.
Hardly.
But it feels to me like because she's not getting her head blown off with a machine gun, that people need to see the punishment on the screen, and I didn't want to do that.
So when you moved over
there was one more thing about it, which was,
yeah.
I felt that the other thing I could use was the father's. I don't think he's anti-Semitic, but he's uncomfortable with the idea of David being Jewish, and he's caught in such a kerfuffle at the beginning of the movie when Jenny introduces David to him. It's actually his awkwardness that helps him take his eye off the ball, and he's flustered, and before he knows it, David's taken Jenny out the door to the concert. So I felt I could use it narratively in several ways that were legitimate.
I was curious to know how much Lone affected the any changes in terms of where the movie went after she came on board, or did she just run with the ball?
She pretty much ran with the ball. I think where I found her helpful was she helped me to make the script more like it wanted to be. I think that tonally, Lone understood it better than I could have hoped any director to understand it. And the thing that
it required a delicate hand.
Yeah, absolutely, really a delicate
those
hand.
shifts are very
They're
important.
yes, and I didn't want it to have no jokes in, and I didn't want it to be derailed by the jokes either. And I think it works exactly as it was supposed to work because of Lone's empathy for the screenplay.